News on Vanguard. Let's start off with the front pages of the papers this morning, and we'll be starting off with Vanguard. Vanguard is leading with federal government pushing manufacturers, others out of existence. NECA, NACCIMA, others. The writer says rejects planned increase in excise duty for food, beverages, others. Says over 17 bill pending at the National Assembly to impose levies on businesses, notes rising production costs, epileptic power supply, insecurity, access to financing, multiple taxation compounding woes. We can see EEG, indigenous exporters, alleged exclusion in favor of expatriates. The writer says non-Nigerians have cornered the funds. Nigerian exporters that's come from Nigerian exporters. Says we are not aware of such situation. That's come from NEPC. Non-oil exports up 112% in 3 years. We can also see an infograph showing Nigeria's half-yearly non-exports 2020 to 2022. Page 7, we have transmission, upload of results. Political parties, CSOs tackle INEC over public view of polling results. On page 8, NAF airstrikes kill ISWAP commanders, Ali Kwaya, Buka Manoka, others. Also on page 8, roles of editors, security agency in 2023 election, headlines editors conference in Owerri. On page 7, 2023 election, opportunity to rewrite Nigeria's history. That's coming from Khan and Onayekon. Stories above, we have issues in 2023 election. Electoral Act 2022 2 says the presiding officers risk 10 million naira fine or imprisonment for at least 1 year or both. And why the polling agents must be firm. You can see that on page 14. On page 13, withheld salaries, how Minister ASUU boss personality clashes aggravating situation. Okowa Omagege trade words over pensioners protest in Delta, and Nigeria must kill idea of same-faith tickets in 2023, says the Northern Christian Elders. On page 8, Naseni collaborates with Italy, Jordan, Czech Republic to revolutionize agric in Nigeria, says EVC. Still on page 7, we have power generation peaks at 4,735 megawatts. And lastly, on the front page of Vanguard newspaper, 2023, Tinubu healthier than Atiku. That's come from APC PCC. You can see that on page 31. All right, let's move ahead to the Nation newspaper. And the Nation is leading with another governor threatens to quit Atiku campaign. Bala Mohammed, PDP presidential candidate, working against my re-election. Wike Makinde, others to sustain opposition against ex-VP Autumn Blast Atiku. Court will decide ASUU's withheld salary, says Ngigi. 2 Pakistani, others held for cocaine skunk trafficking. Dollar scarcity worsens the petrol supply, says the marketers. And lastly, on the front page of the Nation, COP27, Buhari, world leaders tackle climate change. All right, let's move ahead to the Guardian newspaper. And the Guardian is leading with COP27. Inflation, energy security frustrates commitment to climate change. The writer says that Nigeria, others push for more oil exploration. UN will hold world leaders accountable. African countries most affected by climate change, says COP27 president. World's green agenda undermines Africa's priorities, says IUC. Page 3, Nigeria deserves permanent seat at UN Security Council, says Gambari. Why illegal bunkering may not end soon in Niger Delta. The real scorecard of President Buhari. Another ASUU strike bodes danger. Huriwa wants federal government. Konwa rejects half pay. APC absent as Obi Kwankwaso, Abiola, Okowa Pali at first presidential town hall. Akintoye declares distance Ilana Omoodua from attack on military base at Ado Odo Ota. All right, let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. And the Punch is leading with a presidential town hall. Economy, security dominate as Atiku Tinubu skip debate. The writer says Obi Kwankwaso Okowa Kola Abiola proper solutions. Protest erupts over PDP APC presidential candidate absence. Tinubu has had fixed engagement with Mina farmers before invitation. That's come from PCC. 19 die as Tanzania plane plunges into lake. PDP crisis won't stop Atiku's victory. That's coming from a senator. FRSC backs officer who injured pregnant woman. Pages 4 and 5. ISWAP attack claimed the 15,000 so far. Think tank. That's come from Think Tank report. Stories above. Forex crisis. Trapped funds hit $567 million as federal government meet airlines. Half salary. ASUU ESCO meets. Lecturers more sit at home. And lastly, on the front page of the Punch newspaper, moribund Ajaokuta still spent 29 billion naira on personnel. And that's how we can take on the front pages of the papers this morning. Join us after the break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us today in the News on Vanguard Live, I am Precious Chukudi. Joining me to talk about some of the stories on the front pages of the papers this morning is Mr. Ali Mohammed, CEO of Magnet Communications, also former editor of Daily Times and Concord Newspaper. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Precious. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. All right, let's delve in this morning. And of course, the organized private sector OPS has raised the alarm that government choking policies is pushing manufacturing and other businesses out of existence. They also rejected the government's proposed increase in excise duty on food and beverages. What's your take on it?
Well, this their action of shouting out against several factors that is likely to kill industries in Nigeria is coming too late. Because the first killer shots by the government against manufacturers in Nigeria is the sudden deregulation of the prices of diesel. That alone has forced so many factories to shut down. I know so many. I have my friends who run factories that are not active now. Unfortunately, apart from the price of diesel, you have multiple taxation on companies. There is income tax, so many taxes, which is forcing most of these companies to produce at less than 30% production rate instead of between 70 and 100% that we used to have. Already, most of the factories in Nigeria today have been turned to worship centers. You go to Ikeja, go and see Dunlop. There are about 3 churches inside the whole Dunlop. These same factories have moved to Ghana and they are performing and doing well in Ghana. Leonard's, Bata, Michelin, Dunlop, if you go to Ghana, you will see their factories. They are functioning well. A lot of them left Nigeria because of the problem of power supply. Even after the so-called privatization of electricity, the situation has become so bad that manufacturers have continued to shut down their production lines due to epileptic electric supply. And of late, the very high price of diesel, a major petroleum product that is used for production, since there is no light. You are not giving light and you have increased the cost of diesel. That means you practically want the factories to shut down. You are not helping the economy to grow. Look at the federal government's budget this year. They are talking about borrowing to fund the budget. If you continue to borrow to fund your budget, how do you want the country to grow? The truth of the matter is that most economies in different parts of the world, their survival depends on the private sector. But in Nigeria, we have a government-driven economy where the money comes only from the center. The states will wait till the end of the month and go cap in hand to collect money from the federal government. That means most of the states that we have in Nigeria, they are not economically viable. We can only pick a few states that are viable, not to talk about the industries. Our economy should be highly dependent on the private sector, but unfortunately, the government is killing the private sector through a myriad of actions that are continually weakening the development of the private sector in Nigeria.
Of course, the Nigerian economy is, a consumption-driven one, and efforts to like incline it towards, local production and manufacturing has not really gained momentum. Why do you think it's so?
That is what I just said. You see, in other parts of the world, if you are starting a new company, you are given some incentives. Loan. Before you pay that loan, they will give you some moratorium. You have to stay away from paying tax for some years because you are starting your company with a loan, with borrowed money. You understand what I'm saying? Here, we don't have such incentives. If I, as Aliu Mohammed, want to start a bakery now, for instance, I have to source for the money myself. You cannot even get a loan from the banks today. I have to source for the money and then buy the equipment that I need. In some other environments, you have the government assisting people to establish industries because their economy is 100% private sector driven. But here we just consume. We import even toilet papers from abroad now, if you don't know. These are things that we should have locally in Nigeria through companies that are encouraged by the government to produce it. I don't know what they do with this Commerce Bank or something that the government had. I don't know what they are doing there. Because if I have a company and the company has been doing very well, we depend on diesel to operate, and suddenly you have increased the price of diesel from 200 and something to 800 plus. Go to most hotels now, they don't run on diesel again. They have decided to buy 10 kVA petrol driven generators. In fact, I went into a company in Lagos Island recently. I saw more than 20 petrol driven generators there. They said they cannot afford to fuel the big generator. That to me is a big step aimed at weakening private industries and their production capacities. If you really want Nigerian economy to be private sector driven, if this continues, we will continue to import everything that we need. We have companies that are manufacturing cars here. We all know that they don't have power. So they need power to be able to produce efficiently. If they don't have it, and you are increasing the cost of diesel, which is the only alternative that they have, because no matter how you try to generate light through solar, you still need something to charge the equipment you are using. So sometimes I have a solar system in my house, but most of the time you use it after a few hours and you discover that you have to recharge the inverter that you are using. So power has become an inevitable commodity in Nigeria. If the government can help to fix power generation and power supply in Nigeria, it will go a long way in ensuring the survival of most companies. I know a friend that has shut down. He has 3 production lines. He is into the production of herbal drugs. He has shut them down. I went there to look at the place. He employed, before the place was shut down, he had about 300 staff. They are all gone. If we continue to have that kind of situation, then you have a lot of jobless people around. And to every man that is sacked, there are 2 souls or 3 attached to him or her.
More than
I'm just trying to be, what we have here is that if we are not careful, you are going to have an army of unemployed people, because the companies will not continue to pay salaries when they are not generating income. And so the government must take an urgent step to rectify this trend. Most companies, apart from people that are rushing to get out of Nigeria, they call it Japa now, rushing to get out, you have companies too living in droves. I heard that ShopRite has been sold to another company now, and the new company that acquired ShopRite is going around to assess the state of those buildings where ShopRite operates in Nigeria. I do not think we should have that kind of situation. ShopRite came from South Africa to invest here, but they are going back because of a lot of problems. Major among them is power supply, from what I gathered.
All right. In these times of severe currency devaluation, what policies do you think at this point would help business people?
I just said some things here. You must give them tax holiday. There must be good power supply. All this increase in, what do they call it? This custom tax, excise duties, is unnecessary. The federal government is doing that because they want to have enough money to fund the 2023 budget. But it's like cutting your nose to spite your face. You are not helping those industries to grow, because they are already facing problems in terms of power generation. They don't have access to power to run their companies. They have so many problems. Increase in the cost of production. To those who are into production, the cost of production is rising every day. So those are the troubles that manufacturers in Nigeria are contending with. Give them incentives, give them tax holidays, but instead we have multiple taxation. In Lagos, we pay income tax, you pay LASA, you pay fine if you park in front of your house, you pay this house land use charge, harbor, on one company, and they are not paying like 1 million. They are given bills up to 5-10 million. No matter how much that company makes, if you remove 10 million from it, it's going to affect its income. So we must mind the way we impose taxes on these companies, because those running them are also human beings. There are so many companies in Nigeria today that are unable to pay salaries. A very popular company, I don't want to mention its name, retrenched about 2,000 workers. That's a company that has been in Nigeria for years. Its sister company too, that is into the production of liquor, retrenched over 1,000 of its workers. That's not good for the growth of the economy of Nigeria. So we must encourage the private sector in so many ways, reduce their taxes. In fact, I recommend that they should be given tax holidays.
All right, let's move ahead and talk about this one now. Political parties and civil society groups have tackled INEC over their decision not to allow real-time public view of results from polling units across the country during the 2023 elections. What do you think about it?
You see, I said it here some time ago that the days of rigging in Nigeria are gone. Every political party must work hard to sell their candidates now. So you see, those who know that section 50 of the electoral law has been amended in such a way that it will be difficult to to rig are the ones complaining. That was what was used in the Osun election. That was used in the Ekiti election. We should get to a stage where the people's vote must count in Nigeria.
Yeah, but they're saying that we're not going to get a real-time result.
See, by my understanding of that amended section, once elections are counted at the polling booths, they are transferred electronically to INEC office. What is the public viewing? Why must the public view the process of transmission of election results? You want to monitor, will anything affect that result electronically or what? What I don't understand what they are saying. If election results are counted now, you have representatives of the candidates all present at the venue of counting. Why would they want to view the transmission of the result to INEC? I don't understand. It is an attempt to manipulate that system as far as I'm concerned. If you have nothing to hide and you have certified that in voting booth A, APC got 1 million votes, PDP got 2 million votes, other parties got so much number of votes, and you signed, and INEC decide to transmit that result to its headquarters. What else does the party members or party representative want to view in the result? I don't understand. It's all an attempt to thwart the effort of INEC and the government to ensure that the people's vote counts. They should spend their energy in campaigning and stop looking at how to sabotage the amended Section 50 of the electoral law. That is my concern about all these cries that the public must view it. Who are the people that want to view it? It is the same politicians that are looking at the possibility of manipulating that process. I don't think the public needs to view it, because as soon as the three of us, assuming that the three of us here are representatives of the different candidates contesting for election, the results will be counted. Mr. APC will sign. Mr. PDP will sign. Mr. Labour Party will sign. And INEC transmits the results. Why would anybody want to watch the process?
All right, let's move on. And this one is according to reports. They're saying that the personality clash between the Minister of Labour and Employment, Senator Chris Ngige, and also ASUU President Emmanuel Osodeke is responsible for the long period it took to resolve the industrial action by the union.
You see,
what do you think?
It is time we get serious with the future of our youths in this country. ASUU was on strike for almost 1 year, and the government was unable to resolve this crisis until we had court cases here and there, which gave an authority to ASUU to resume. And ASUU tried to play the good boy. They obeyed the court order. If there are conflicting interests that is inhibiting the successes recorded by the universities through the courts, I think they should go back to the courts, because there was a court order that they should go and resume, and they claim to have complied with that court order. So that means negotiation failed to achieve anything in this circumstance. And in the process of settling down, and in the interest of the judgment that was given by the court, if there are conflicting interests or that threatens to hinder the peace that has come to the universities through the law courts, I think ASUU members should go to court. People should forget about the personality clash between Chris Ngige and ASUU. We all know the characters of the ministers that we have in Nigeria. Their children studies abroad, and they are ensuring that Nigerian universities are not functioning. So if you continue to look at the minister as the savior of the Nigerian students, that means we are joking. They don't bother, they don't care. Nigerian students will remain at home for over 1 year. So I want to plead with ASUU that they can go back to court and let the court know the things that are threatening the fragile peace that we have in the university today. The federal government said they are not going to pay full salary. And ASUU is saying if you don't pay full salary, we will resume. But in the spirit of the fact that the courts gave an order that they must resume, I think they can go back to the courts and compel the court to instruct the federal government to pay them full salary, not going back on strike that they just resumed from. It is not going to be in the interest of the students because some students are just going back to the campuses
Some
now.
have not even resumed yet.
Some are yet to resume. And you just get there, the parents would have paid, and you shut down again. That means they want to kill some parents.
All right, let's take Mr. and Mrs. Before we go. And Mr. is speaking, says, some people say I am not taking care of my wife. And Mrs. replies, says, don't mind them, dear. I'm a living testimony, and testimony means testing the money.
Testing the money. I like that.
Testing
I
money.
like that. I like that. That she is testing the money. Great.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Ali Mohammed. Thank
You're
you for
most
sharing your
welcome.
topic with us this
You're most
morning.
welcome.
Remember that you can equally like, share, and subscribe on all our social media platforms showing on your screen on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. Also, our WhatsApp number is displayed on your screen to find out more up-to-date stories. You can also go to our website, www.vanguardngl.com. I am Precious Chukudi, and make sure you get your Monday right and get the rest of your week right. Thank you for watching.